Today's video is about why there's so much confusion around nutrition, the big picture, the politics behind it. And by the end of the video, you'll also be motivated to start becoming an intuitive eater or an enlightened eater, someone who doesn't listen, doesn't heed, doesn't believe all the noise out there and listens to their own body. There are three reasons, three big context clues which confuse many people about nutrition. These three things are financial incentives from food companies to sell food, skewed research financed by food companies, and then lastly, confusing and sometimes outright deceptive marketing. So we'll get into some examples of those. These three things are like huge trends that are affecting your life. Let's take a look at them. If you do like this video, first just subscribe, give me a comment, would love to hear your thoughts. So getting into it with the first reason, financial incentives. This is to provide a big picture understanding. If you want a more nuanced understanding, you can check out the book Food Politics. And the simple explanation, we understand this, it's pretty simple. Food companies want to make money, right? They're publicly owned companies like Nestle or Weight Watchers or another big company. The weight loss industry makes billions of dollars a year. They have shareholders. Shareholders demand profits for a return on their investment. I've talked about this in a separate video down below. I'll link it. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about because it gives me the bad guys to talk about, but it makes so much sense. Food companies are there to sell products. They're there to make a profit. And how they make a profit is selling food. So here's the question then. How does a food company get you to buy more food? Well, there's a bunch of different ploys. Later on we'll talk about marketing ploys, but just one real quick marketing ploy is the McDonald's thing, where if you buy a little bit, you can get an extra serving for just a little bit more. That's a way to get you to buy the extra food. Now, the real driver of food, of what gets people to purchase food, is actually scientific research. And this is a topic that hits home for me. I've grown up in a scientific family. Parents are atheist agnostic. Like, I grew up believing in science. And I have to admit, there's a lot of problems with science, especially in the food industry, because here's what happens. The food companies know that if they sponsor, let's say 10 scientists, right? Let's say I'm a breakfast cereal company and I want to get some research that says breakfast is good. Well, what if I just fund 10 scientists, tell them to run their studies, and then I only quote or only look at the science that confirms my opinion, that confirms my, what gives me information that I could use to promote my product. So if I'm a breakfast company, I sponsor 10 scientists to do studies on breakfast, and maybe 9 of those say that breakfast has no effect on you. Just maybe, but maybe you get one scientist who says, yeah, breakfast is really good. Our participants stayed full throughout the day, they had more energy and so forth. All that food company has to do is then say, hey, here's some science that justifies justifies why you should buy our products. And if you notice something, this is something that I found absolutely fascinating. When I was reading the book Eat, Stop, Eat, which is about fasting, they noticed a big trend that, diets, which are really promoted through magazines and food companies, diets are always telling you to eat something. There's no psychology. There's no things about hunger or your body, because those things don't sell. Diets, if you notice, let's look at all of them. Keto, buy more protein, buy more fattening foods, not fattening foods, but high fat foods. The keto research could have been sponsored by avocado farmers or something like that. where there's a financial incentive that funds research. Research comes up with a finding that supports the justification of buying food, and then it's purported to be truth. You look at all these diets out there, they're all telling you to eat breakfast, eat 6 meals a day, eat 12 meals a day, eat 1 meal a day, eat high carb, eat low carb, eat gluten-free, eat keto, they're all telling you to eat stuff. Who do you think's sponsoring those companies, yo? Come on. It's the food companies. They're making billions of dollars a year. And so then we'll get into deceptive marketing, and then we'll get into kind of some real reasons. Hopefully these reasons right here, you're starting to realize there's a lot of noise out there. And maybe the only thing I can really trust is my own body. Really listening to my body, developing a relationship with my body. That's where we're headed. First, let's get into deceptive marketing. I just want to give a quick example of this. I was walking through the store the other day, and it was like fat-free peanut butter or something like that. It was like Nutella, or I forget. But I saw the fat-free, and then I turned it over, and there were like 30 grams of sugar. Fat-free, sure, that's true, but 30 grams of sugar. It's like, it's marketed fat-free, it's healthy, blah 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 blah, it's healthy. And then there's like 30 grams of sugar. And Nutella actually was sued by parents who, Nutella was marketed to children saying, hey, this is a great thing for your kid's breakfast. It's fat-free or whatever their marketing ploy was. And then there's got tons of sugar in it. So there is deceptive marketing all the time. So when you go, and this is in magazines, this is everywhere. How they pull it off is skewed research. It's easy to cherry pick science and only find out and only report what you want. So this is the movement of intuitive eating. This is the movement of eating enlightenment. This is understanding the capitalism forces, the business and economic forces, which are throwing food products at you. And their messaging is incredibly powerful. Unless we become firmly grounded in our own bodies, we're going to get swayed. You can't help but go on Facebook or go to the store or open up a magazine and get bombarded with food messages about the healthy thing of this, the healthy thing of that. And what we need to do first and foremost, is have an eating enlightenment that the answer's within, and that we got to go search for it. And it's a bit messy, and it's a bit freaking hard, but I'm going to give you 4 forces right now that can hopefully give you some road marks on how you can begin relating to your body by listening to hunger, by listening to fullness, by listening to your self-care, taking care of yourself. And then lastly, the hallmark, the goal of all this is to enjoy food. It's to enjoy food. Isn't that a beautiful thing? It's to enjoy food. When we're listening to fullness, when we're listening to the foods that make us happy, that taste good, that make us feel good an hour or two afterwards, when we have a self-care mindset, a compassionate mindset where we're allowed to make mistakes, where we're allowed to try different foods, where we're allowed to get too full and where we're allowed to learn. When you flip the script and instead of taking someone else's advice that some food is good for you or bad for you, you then try it for yourself using the hallmark of happiness. Does this food bring me sustainable happiness? Maybe it doesn't. And maybe once you start really thinking for yourself and listening to your body, you'll be able to more clearly see, oh no, those foods, they don't make me feel good. I'm eating them because I'm stressed out. I feel all this confusion about marketing, and I'm trying to make sense of it all, but I never will be able to make sense of it all. So I better listen inward. All right. Let me know your thoughts. Leave me a comment. Have a good day. Peace.